Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the Naschat podcast, the all-new audio-visual representation of National Autograss Sport Association Limited, fueled by Monster Energy. I've got another fantastic guest for you this morning. Fan favourite, great driver. And let me introduce you to the one and only Josie Tomkinson. Good morning, Jose.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I mean, hell of an intro. Where to start?
Let's talk about the racing.
Yeah, 2024.
2024?
Or before.
Oh, right.
How far back are we going?
Let's start at the beginning.
Oof.
So, obviously, you're only still a youngster and you've still got, a long and fruitful career ahead of you. We'll get to the politics of it later because you're heavily involved now.
Yeah.
Right back in the beginning, what was your introduction to grass track racing? Why are you even here?
Well, that's a science lesson, isn't it, for one? But no, I've been coming racing since I was 7 days old. Mum and dad, well, my granddad actually brought us into it. Granddad, absolute legend of the sport. He used to bring my brother and my mum on a Sunday just for something to do, get them out the house. And then, however many years later, we're still here doing it. Turned 12 years old, and obviously there was only one thing I had to do, and that was jump in a car. Fortunately, I got junior special. The route all down, being a kid, it was a junior saloon. But no, mum and dad turned up with a great surprise of a junior special.
And that's mega, actually, because as a family, your family was saloon racers, weren't they?
Yeah.
So for you to have sort of broke the mould and got the first open wheeler in the family is cool and led to where we are today, because we don't want to see you banging around in a Nova, do we?
Well, no, to be fair, although that is all I wanted when I came out of juniors, all I wanted to do was go Class 2 racing. But to be fair, looking back, I mean, what a great choice. I can't see me in a front wheel drive.
No. Or with a body shell.
No. Well, there'd be nothing left of it. Be the Chris Packett. Yeah.
We already talked, we've had a guest on previous, and I recognised the colours of his race car, and I'd made sure that his car is wrapped in the Monster Energy livery. I presented him with the right can that matched his car, and we basically described it as, if you drunk this, stamped on it, and straightened it back out again, that would pretty much look like that car.
Yeah, that would be mine.
Now, just jump back a little bit away from your racing, go back to mum and dad's racing. I remember particularly an incident where your mum was top flight Class 2, proper. She was the real deal, and she was a racing snake.
Yeah.
I remember the big roll. You must have only been very young then when your
Seven Valley, wasn't it?
Seven Valley. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the one and only roll she had, it was a good one, to say the least.
Yeah.
And that was it was well before my time
I'm
of racing.
I'm going to say...
It was the last time it was at Seven Valley, wasn't it?
Seven Valley Nationals 2011, ladies and juniors?
Could have been, yeah. But yeah, going down the bottom straight, I think it was a last year racing. It was before little Beth got into the Class 2, and then rolls were weekly and
normal,
still are.
And still are, yeah, absolutely. We'll come to Beth. We'll definitely get to Beth at some point, because Beth's become, I was going to say she's become your hobby, but she's actually, I think Beth's racing career has now become your job, and your job's taking
a back seat.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. I think I've probably done more hours in the garage this year on Beth's car than anything else, or work, to be fair.
Yeah.
But don't tell work that.
Don't tell work that. They won't see this anyway.
No,
this is only between me and you.
Yeah, that's it.
So let's go back. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. So you started in the junior special.
Yeah.
Now I remember this, and I remember this for all the wrong reasons, because your junior special career started in one of my early chassis.
Yeah.
Rules were different in them days.
Yeah.
Right. And around 2014, 15, I'm going to say, they introduced the chassis tagging, something that as a constructor I'm very proud of, as in I've really enjoyed the progress in autograss in the safety and the rules. But your car was one of the first, certainly, I believe, the only car I've ever had that failed chassis tagging.
Yeah, ironically though, and I mean, thankful for me, it was just as I was coming out of juniors that
Yeah.
that came in, so it didn't actually affect me.
Without getting too political, the irony is the car that failed tagging, that was a massive thing for me because I'd prided myself in the construction of the cars and this and anyway. The fucking thing got banned and it's still racing.
Yeah.
So
and it won the nationals.
So I don't know how it managed to fail tagging and then be reborn, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Your junior career started in the little old ARD.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't actually know how we've come as far as we have because I absolutely hated juniors.
Did you?
Hated racing. I mean, anyone who can drive a junior special, fair play to them because they are the hardest things. Yeah. Yeah. They're shit.
Yeah. And I obviously with my relationship with John Lockwood over the years.
Yeah.
So John had bought I'd known John since I was a kid. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think I've known John since the 70s and he looks younger today than he did. He's like Peter Pan.
Yeah.
He gets younger every year. And he must be like 70 or something, but he looks like he's 29. So I remember John, and I was very proud. 2001, I won the British Championships. That's a whole different thing. John came along. I want to buy that car. And so I started this sort of relationship, friendship with John back in 2001. That was then born into junior specials. So Kate, obviously being the oldest of the three kids, came to me first. We built Kate the car back in 2005. They've still got the car.
Yeah.
And John says to me one day, he says, I can't get in Kate's car. He says, do you fancy having a go in it? I was like, yeah, of course I do. You know what I mean? Special in it. I'll have a go in that. Fucking hell. I went up the box, down the box. I understeered, I oversteered. When I came back, I'd banged my head, pulled a muscle in my neck. I got out of it and I was like, that is a fucking heap of shit. I thought Kate must be an absolute legend because she was having good success.
Yeah, yeah.
And I drove then, of course, much later down the line, that car did 3 generations with them.
Won a fair few things
and it's
as
won
well.
a bit, yeah. And then obviously I go junior special racing with Alfie, and I watched this young lad of mine like go out in this thing and drive it with his fingertips like it's on rails, and I'm like, I don't even know how to do this.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be as soon as that F600 thing came real, and we're having one of them. Get rid of that fucking thing because I hated it. Do you know what I mean? And obviously I've got another one now with
Evie.
With Evie. You obviously must be preparing space in the garage
for little Ada.
Yeah, because now being an auntie.
Yeah, auntie duties. To be fair, we did start building a go-kart, but she's still 18 months old, so we was a bit optimistic in that sense.
No, but you've only got 4 months if you're going to get it right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. So she's going to go-kart racing. That's the plan. Win, obviously, all of that. I
have something at home for Ada, and I have got Jake Lockwood's first grass track car in my shed.
I always have a memory of that. I don't know if it was the first time he went out. I'm sure it was at Trent. His throttle stuck open. He just kept going round in circles. He ran John over.
It was at Scunthorpe.
And just kept going round.
Yeah. So this is like a bit of a hate on the chassis builder because we've already had your chassis fail and then my throttle stuck on the kids' car.
Anything else?
Yeah. So yeah, loads. So Jake's going round, isn't he? Like, how old would he have been? I don't know. We built him for Christmas.
Yeah, he was only young, wasn't it? Like, really young.
Yeah. So he's going round Scunny on a Saturday night, burning around in his little grasser, which was an exact 2/3 replica of Kate's car. Colours, stickers, everything.
It was cool.
And the throttle stuck. So he's shouting at John.
Help me.
Yeah. He comes past again. He comes back. They're waiting for it to run out of fuel. I can tell you that thing had a quad fuel tank on it. It would have gone till tomorrow. So eventually John tried to rugby tackle it, didn't he? And Jake ran him over.
Yeah.
He also had an incident. He used to come in the workshop and he only had a rear brake. So he used to jump on the brakes, like effectively handbrake it around this girder and then go back out again. But John had got the boards off the pit. So he'd been down the pit in it as well. But we still have that little car because I had it back for Alfie.
Yeah.
Evie's had it.
Cool.
It's my promise Ada can have that car.
Perfect.
But it's up to you to rebuild it, repowder coat it.
In the same colours as Beth.
Exactly.
Which colour?
Well, I
Gets
mean,
rebuilt every week.
The problem with Beth is, it's a regular thing. A repanel or a repowder coat can be most Thursdays.
Yeah, literally.
Right. So you never enjoyed the juniors.
I mean, I think it always used to be a thing, didn't it? Until sort of recent years. I think once they brought the age limit down, you never used to do well in juniors until your last year. And then it always used to come along. I mean, don't get me wrong, I never did actually any decent. I think I made it to the quarters or the semis in my last year of juniors, but I was just that class 8. That's all I had visions of.
Yeah. So because of the junior special, and obviously you've already said it was always about having a class 2.
Ideally, yeah. Just go Doring.
Was the eight always on the radar then?
I've always loved watching class 8s, and obviously the car that I ended up having was Jack Gibbons' Jab Fab that I built, and obviously we were massive friends with the Gibbonses. Always used to look at it, used to like it, say to Dad, "Oh, I really like that car." Like plant the seeds, but Dad's been Dad. Did I think he'd actually take on board? No, I thought a class 2 Nova would be,
or a new pair of football boots.
Well, that as well, but we keep trying to retire with that, but that doesn't happen.
Well, you made a comeback for one day and broke your leg.
Yeah, I'm back playing again in goal.
Oh, in goal. Well, somebody else is getting the legs broke this time then.
That's it. But
so you went into class 8. So you was only 16 when you went in class 8?
Yes. Week after my 16th birthday.
Perfect. The exact right way to do it. You then obviously you had that little car for a good few years.
Yeah.
You progressed through the chassis. You know what I mean? There's obviously, back in them days, there was the handful of manufacturers.
Yeah.
I know I'd pretty much retired from the car building, as retired as I ever get.
Yeah.
John had come along, John and Russ together to start with.
Yeah.
Then they separated and they both have their own.
Yeah.
Jack, I honestly thought Jack was going to go do that for a career. I thought, and the car was lovely.
Yeah,
that little car was lovely. And
it was like a pocket rocket out the gate.
Yeah, and it had a cool low roof on it.
Yeah.
So it was all sort of what people are actually starting to emulate again now.
Yeah.
Lower, engine further back, all that sort of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. Well, I won my first bass round in that, so I'll always have
What year was that?
2017, 16. Stroud.
I remember on the big track.
Yeah, at Javelin Park. I remember the trophy because it was like a dinner plate.
And silver plate.
I was proper gutted. I thought, right, I'm going to get a cup. I went home with the dinner plate.
I did get accused of disrespecting Stroud, not last year, the year before. And I'm a big fan of Stroud. Like Stroud's 2002 Bass track, which is in the field they was in last year. Yeah. But the track was up in the pits.
Yes.
With a jump at the end of the straight. It was the best track I've ever raced on. To be able to jump sideways through the air, like mega. You know what I mean? Probably, might get hurt doing it, but look cool.
Yeah.
And I've always been a supporter of Stroud. They went to Javelin Park. I was at their first Nationals A in 04 when that track first.
Yeah.
And I made a comment, a social media comment. We've all done this, haven't we, Jose?
No, never.
You may do today. There's time. I made a comment, and actually, it wasn't aimed at Stroud. It was aimed at the positioning of the cameras because we spent a lot of weekend. It's a quirky track to watch at.
Yeah.
It's difficult to spectate at in person.
Yeah.
It's actually a cool track.
Yeah.
And as the drivers from Stroud, they build drivers' tracks.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And if you can't pedal it and you can't go to Stroud and
close your eyes and hope for the best
and let loose, then you're not going to win at Stroud. Yeah. And Javelin Park was a great example of that. So I'm not going to say anything sort of derogatory about Stroud because I did get chastised a little bit for it last year, and it certainly wasn't intended, to upset anyone. But it's a quirky little track to watch at. The cameras were pointing at the trees a lot.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest incidents of the weekend, that particular weekend, was the Mickey Manning roll.
Yeah.
And Mickey rolled, and then basically
the tree was
Ricky bobbied it out the venue, and it was all hidden by the trees. And I think that's probably where the comments came from. But it certainly wasn't intended. And I've been great friends of the guys from Stroud for many years. You know what I mean? But there's a small club with a very die-hard racing mentality.
100%.
And going back to my sort of younger days with Dave and Steve Smith was outrageously fast. You know what I mean? They could win at any level. And Phippsies and all. I mean, they were all proper drivers, weren't they? Do you know what I mean? So you won your first Bass at Stroud. I nearly won the Nationals at Stroud at Javelin Park. I made a move on Gareth James in the first corner, went to the outside, rounded him in the dirt. It's over. What he did, he waited till lap 7 and then did it back.
Perfect.
And nicked it off me on the last corner. And I had to hand over my I'm the daddy shirt in the beer tent. We had a good crack, and I you know, perfectly honest, he deserved it. He was better than me on the day, and which is, I have this thing. I don't know how you feel about this with racing, winning and losing. There's days when you lose, I hate.
Yeah.
But I can stand being beat.
And
I find there's a difference between losing when I, almost when I shouldn't, or when I was in control and I lost that. And then some days you just beat.
Yeah.
And that day, Gareth, he just fucking opened a can of whoop ass, and that was that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was mega, and he deserved it. And then they went out in the Champ of Champs, him and Billy, and both blew him to bits in the Champ of Champs. So I'm kind of glad I weren't in it.
Yeah.
Not that I can win the Champ of Champs. I've never won it. But
No.
So moving through your career, you've stuck with the Class 8.
Yeah.
Preparation-wise, you're running your own team now.
Unfortunately, yeah. It's sort of ran away with itself, especially more this winter. We've got a few to do this winter, but yeah, Beth, like we've already said, she keeps me busy. So we don't need a team. We just need Beth to retire. And I'd have an easy life.
We could do with Beth having like 5 or 6 more kids and just keep her out of action for a little while, just while you get settled down.
Literally. Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, this year's been absolutely incredible. Wouldn't change it for the world. For what we've achieved, or she's achieved more so than anything.
Yeah.
It's been mint.
So let's go back 1 year.
Yeah.
Let's go back to 24.
Yeah.
I've been, what's the right word? I've been involved with you for a few years. Let's say,
Don't be setting rumours off.
Not that sort of. I'm 52, Jose. You've got to set your sights higher, okay?
Okay.
I've kind of always, right back from when you was started in the adult career, I've always made sure, and I've known you guys since you were kids, since you were nippers. And Grandad, I've known him my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right. There's only one word, legend.
Yeah.
So obviously, world-renowned commentator.
Yes.
The most Yorkshireman I've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
All the catchphrases to go with it.
Yeah.
And I actually, this week, I was watching a video on social media. Fastest Man on Grass 2002. Right? Looked at the lineup. Didn't realise I was in it. So I watched the lineup. Steve-O, Kershaw, John Whitehouse, Phil Cooper.
Don't know her.
Never heard of her. Anyway, and the most notable thing, and then obviously Andrew Ornshaw. Nearly forgot about her.
Yeah. She's all right.
And average. In my day, when I first came along to Class 8, Andy was just another level.
Yeah.
He won't mind me saying this. He wasn't a very likable guy. And he won't mind me saying that because we are good friends.
Yeah.
Back then, we was not good friends. Once he threatened, I've wrote about this in my book that I've been writing since 2001 that I haven't finished yet. And he said to me after the race, I'm going to rip your head off and shit down your neck, was his exact words.
I think that'd be quite nice.
Yeah, I wasn't keen at the time, but I got the trophy anyway. Yeah. So he was obviously a bit low about that. I've had many a bit of banter since. I rate Andy as probably one of a handful of the best drivers in the sport's history.
Yeah, 100%.
And he came to us. He wasn't a young, not young, but he wasn't a kid when he came to us. He didn't start with us. He was a motocross rider.
Yeah.
So, anyway, digressing, which I am known for. Go back to 2002, fastest man on grass, fastest special on grass. The only thing I can remember from this week is your granddad's commentary. And the race was mega. My tyre fell off.
Oh, man.
I was the first person in the country, apart from Pete Ellis, with a beadlock and the only man with a puncher. But your granddad's commentary, and there he was. And as soon as the race went off, and you're like, yeah, it's grass track racing.
Yeah.
Because if we go back to what, again, and I know I've said this with other guests, British Championship changed the game. Now, I'm a massive fan of the national championships.
Yeah.
As you are. What do we really want to win?
Yeah.
I just want to be
it's
national
the one that
champion.
goes down in history.
And if you can put your name on that list, it stays forever. Now, the Bass does, and don't get me wrong, we're 30 years in now.
Yeah. And I think it's harder to win the Bass.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And being fortunate enough to do both, there was a time when I was desperate to win the Bass because I was trying to sell a product and sell myself. If you're where you are now, where you've got your own little race team going on, it's really important now that you prove that your cars and your preparation can do a season.
Yeah, that's it.
Because that's the British. The British is all about effectively 16 race wins. I nearly perfected it in 2011. I had 15 and a second.
Yeah.
And but 16 race wins is what you're looking for. And if you can be the person, and we'll use Phil Cooper as an example, Andy Holtby as an example, these guys don't break down.
No.
So if you can turn a car out of your workshop that will do 16 consistent races throughout a season, you're going to turn out British Championship winning cars. Yeah. But the Nationals, which is a different gravy.
Oh, that's it.
And you've done it now.
Yeah.
So 2024 Class 8 Ladies National Champion.
Yeah.
Class 10 came the year before.
Yeah.
I don't think I even need to ask you, but I'll ask anyway. Which one means the most?
The 23, like winning your first national championship, it'll always stick in your mind. But obviously winning in the 8, it's my car.
Yeah.
Do it myself.
Yeah.
We're a bit of a dream come true, really.
And yeah, you've just won nationals. You've just won nationals in 2023 down at Cambridge in the Class 10.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's not your car; it's a borrowed car. But you had a hand in it.
Yeah, yeah.
You was always on it, spanner in it, and what have you. But a borrowed car in a, how do you say this without sounding derogatory? A slightly less competitive class.
100%. Yeah.
If you're winning in National Autograss today, if you're in Class 1 and Class 2, or you're in Class 7 or Class 8, undeniable.
Oh, 100%. They're good titles to win out there.
Yeah. Undeniable the best in the game at that moment.
Yeah.
Because again, with the Nationals, the moment comes around and it's gone as fast as it arrives.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
But for me, that's still I don't see anything bigger than that. And
no.
Way before your time, because you're only just out of juniors.
Yeah.
But when I go back to like the 70s and the 80s, if you look at the statistics, there's only 2 names that actually stand out. Mm-hmm. So it's Terry Brown.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the name. You never saw Terry race, did you?
Probably not.
No.
Know the name, but like so.
Yeah. So Terry Brown, obviously down in Wales, we only saw him 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
We knew this guy was silly fast. Yeah. And then there was, for me as a Class 8 kid, because Dad was racing the bike engines in Class 8 from 1980 when they were all still on Anglia engines and fucking BMCs and shit.
Yeah.
But there was this guy from down Wales, from Pembroke Avon, caravan site owner, Gerald Brace.
Yeah.
And he just kept racking them, one after another. So with the likes of my dad and Bob Mosley and Terry Cox and Steve Chase, all these people I was surrounded with, who I saw as they was the boys.
Yeah.
And wow, they couldn't deal with Gerald Brace. He was untouchable. And do you know what? You can say, oh, he had a BDA and an Uland in 1983. He did, right? But he drove the thing because there were plenty of other people that had a BDA and an Uland gearbox. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Gerald just drove the thing. But as a Class 8 kid, for me, growing up, I watched the other classes take prominence. Like Terry Brown made Class 10 for a long time. For me, there was 3-4 drivers in Class 10. Mick Morgan, come D1 in his chicken up.
Yeah.
Well, they call him Hereford Bull. I call him a chicken up.
Yeah.
Right. He was super quick. Now, I didn't even know where Cum D was. If you ask me today, it's just near Leominster, innit?
Yeah.
I thought it was like, it could have been in Jersey for me. Do you know what I mean? I had no idea where it was. I knew it was down there somewhere.
Yeah.
So I thought the guy was Welsh. He might call himself Welsh. If you ask Jake Erdman, it depends if the rugby's on. You know what I mean? He's right on the border, isn't he? But there were Mick Morgan, Paul Fackrell, Terry Brown, Fred Dupe. Fred was my guy. He was the Isle of Wight guy. He was my hero. Really lovely fella. Mechanic, just a really nice guy.
Yeah.
They couldn't deal with Terry Brown. And I even remember to the point where everybody was saying, Terry's car is just better. You know, and if you look over the years, if we go back down there in them there red dirt hills, the car setup's totally different in it.
Yeah.
So up here, like we'll go to your home venue as a prime example. Well, it's as shiny as this table, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the grip doesn't stay for very long. So we are racing, we're night and day.
Yeah.
Now, actually, I think at this point in time, us Northerners, I'm from Lincoln, but Midlander.
Yeah.
Us Northerners, I think, have a slight advantage at the moment because we can race the shiny.
Yeah.
They don't see it.
Yeah, it's an art to master, isn't it? And I think that's it. When you start watching videos at the start of the year, when qualifying's on and stuff, you watch South Wales and it's like, it's ballistic.
Yeah.
And then you watch round Scunny, round Nottingham, we're on small, shiny tracks. And then first Bass hits and no one can call what's going to happen.
No. But like, use South Wales League as an example. You watch their qualifiers and you go, fuck it, how am I going to keep up with them?
Yeah.
And I always go, and I don't mean this derogatory to anyone else, I always go to Dan Thomas as the reference. Obviously, the car is brighter than everyone else's, so you see it first.
Yeah.
I watched Dan, and I remember after I'd had a few years off when my brain failed, and I went back, my first British Championship round was Cumdy 2018. I hadn't sat in a race car for 3 years. I hadn't even put seatbelts on. And when I went there, I hadn't driven it. I bedded the brakes in on the way to scrutiny. And it was my old car I'd bought back. And then I went down, obviously Cumdy down and you can watch from the lanes.
Yeah.
And I was in like race 9. Dan came out. Shit a brick. I was like, and I think he was maybe still in the Bennett chassis then.
Yeah, it will have been. Yeah.
Well, Dan was coming up over the brow. Mate, I was just like, I was ready for just turning around. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I'd done some winning in the past, but I just watched these boys and I was just like, this is a of a gravy. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I went out, won my first heat, settled down a little bit. But obviously you'd got, at that point in time, Dan, youngster.
Yeah.
Mitch, he was straight out of juniors, pretty much, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And these boys, they are coming in there in reverse, you know, roosting dirt, like, and they were racing a line round Cumdy. I'd won at Cumdy previously. I broke my neck there as well, but I'd raced there, you know, years before. I think first year we visited there was 2004 for a Bass. And I'd never raced against the fence. I was like, what's these idiots doing? I'd always, fastest line was the inside line. Yeah. But I think my memory was actually drawn back to the finals because it's another one of them tracks that starts so fast against the fence. And then we just creep back down and we win the final around the inside. Yeah. And then that weekend, I did exactly that. Snuck back into racing, went and won the thing. Do you know what I mean? But as you quite rightly say, you start the season, you watch everyone. Even go and watch the shiny area, Evesham and Radford. Yeah. Their qualifiers start grippy. Yeah, yeah. And you're just watching thinking, where is this pace? Jordan's obviously made a comeback. Yeah. Jordan's fast. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's always going to be fast. National champion. He's fast. Yeah. But you watch their qualifiers, and Mitch has obviously jumped ship, gone to there from Kent. Yeah. And you're like, how are we going to fare against these guys? Because we're running around this little shiny circle. Yeah. But actually, it pays dividends because when we get to the dirt, we can do it. Yeah. When they come to us,
it's different ball.
It's a struggle, isn't it?
Yeah. Slow is fast.
Now, north of Nottingham, they're apart from Dales for a very early part in the day, that's it. There is no dirt.
No, it's early part of the season, and like I say, I put a Bass round on there by heat 2. We're back on a polish, aren't we? So we are running low on dirt tracks now, really.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, running low on tracks, but
well, yeah.
I had a really cool, interesting meeting last night with some farmers.
Anything good?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's crop rotation. I'm just using the words they used. Yeah, and but yeah, there's.
Can we use your field?
Yeah, and there is options available. Do you know what I mean? And we've got plans to be. We're going to visit a big agricultural show in January at Birmingham NEC. Yeah, and we're going to go there, and we want your land.
That's a bit different to the autosport
to our
show,
usual. Yeah. I'll wear a different shirt. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'll wear a check shirt for that weekend.
Yeah. What about gilet?
I've got my I always have my
Yeah.
gilet with me now. Yeah, yeah. I live on a farm.
That's it. Well, you got to look the
As
part.
long as
at
no
least.
animals come near me and I don't
Yeah.
have to do any work, I'm a farmer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously Class 8 ongoing. Beth,
Yeah.
always busy with Beth.
Yeah.
You know, from a family perspective, things have changed no end.
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
have changed for you no end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we?
I think, to be fair, it's been for the better. I mean, obviously this year I jumped ship, being reigning national champion. I thought, let's have a go in the men's.
Yeah.
Which I think, to be fair, has been good for Beth as well. I've been able to focus on Beth's car with no choice.
Do you think you jumping ship took the pressure of? I don't necessarily think beating you, but do you think you jumping ship and going on to the full license? I could call it men's license.
Yeah.
Call it full license. Do you think that's what's freed Beth up?
I think so, yeah, because like I think she got into her own head 100% that I'd always beat her. I mean, yeah, it was true, but and I think for her as well, it was me going down to the start line with her. I think's made a big difference.
Yeah.
Telling her lap by lap
Well,
what to do.
The other thing with Beth is obviously she can't see over the steering wheel.
Yeah.
So she can't see what's going on ahead.
Yeah, she's like the 21st century of Sandra Jones. That's all I see is
With her arms up there.
yeah. And she wonders why she's knackered after 3 laps. But yeah.
Beth, right from the beginning, I mean, she's got the attitude.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, no doubt about that. I always remember years. I can't remember what year it was, but years and years and years ago, I heard a bit of a commotion at race control, and I saw your mum come out of race control with Beth by the scruff of the neck, and she was on marching orders. I don't know what she'd done or said.
It won't have been her fault.
Oh no.
But-
She wasn't even involved.
No, that's it.
But her attitude kicked in, and you know, there's if you think you've got attitude, then give your attitude to Diane Tomkinson, and you'll find out who these really got the attitude.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. Let's just step out of racing a little bit.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad,
Yeah.
both great racers.
Yes.
Our Ian,
Yeah.
no one ever calls him that, do they?
No.
Our Ian, I mean, he always had a bit of crossweight on his side, so
Yeah.
he was a good Class 2 man.
In the wet.
Yeah, but he was genuinely just good,
Yeah.
just good. And you know, I know he wears a Leeds shirt. Let's not get into football. Who won the weekend, by the way?
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
Okay. So he can come across as being a bit of a caveman.
Oh, 100%. I think he is still stuck in like the 18.
But isn't he just a big teddy bear?
Oh, yeah. And I don't know what it is. Like the last couple of years, he's got even softer.
Kids and dogs.
Yeah. The dogs, definitely. And
Dogs
a
and kids.
granddaughter.
Yeah.
The granddaughter's definitely helped the matters, which has done me and Beth an absolute world of good.
Yeah.
So does anything for us, which is a bonus.
Mega. And obviously, great racer. Your mum, great racer.
Yeah.
I honestly thought, obviously, I know Beth came along and your mum gave that. At the time, I thought, she wouldn't be old. She was still on the pace. Yeah, I think that big roll shook the shit out of her.
Yeah.
I think she hurt herself as well. She hurt her wrist.
I can't remember, to be fair.
I think she took a beating. Beth came along and that was it.
Yeah.
But then your mum went the other route, so she got heavily involved.
Yeah.
That must have. So from somebody from the outside, right where I am right now, as a family, that must have put some pressure on the whole thing, like knowing that mum's part of the hierarchy now.
Yeah. Yeah, it always went against us almost, because you'd never go contest an appeal.
No.
Because, if it got overruled, it's only because your mum's on the board, or it's only because your mum are this. And then...
I fear for my kids facing that.
Yeah.
And anyone that knows me, I'm not actually a complainer when it comes to racing. I did complain about a decision with Alf this year.
Yeah.
Which actually was at your event.
Oh, yeah.
And the complaints officer, Beth, basically told me to f*** off, mate.
Yeah.
She's like, and go away.
Yeah.
In fact, she didn't say go away. She told me to f*** off. And you know, it was one of them deals. It was a 50-50.
Yeah.
We felt unjustly treated by the incident, not the club.
Yeah.
You know, or not
Yeah,
not even
it.
the decision. Just the incident was it was one of them. It could have been all back.
Yeah.
Or 2 out or 1 out, just up to us.
Yeah.
So we were, so that was one. I do feel differently about the kids racing, so I know the position. But you do find yourself, and your mum must have found herself in that position so many times where, you know, we're on the wrong side of this.
Yeah.
But my hands are tied.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I think as well, like with how we've been brought up as well, racing, I mean, it's a little bit different now because me and Beth Boy, we both want to win.
Yeah.
But it was, you come to have fun. If you make a final, it's bonus.
Yeah.
So we never used to complain. Well, I never used to complain. Beth will take her out of this at the minute. And sometimes you have a decision that goes the wrong way, and sometimes you get away with something that you probably shouldn't have done.
That's always been the way I've done it.
Yeah.
So as a racer, when it's just me, selfishly,
Yeah.
I've and I didn't and people used to say to me, oh, so and so. So back in the days when I had young Joe with me, or when I had Tom Bendel with me, or all these guys that I've had with me over the years, and they would come to me, oh, they've done this, they've done that, and I'm just like, I can only fight my fight.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's even, and I remember a guy I used to race with a lot. Go back to 2001, 2002, particularly, was a really competitive season. And Richie Erdman. Now, nothing against Rich. Very, very good driver.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad he's on watercar now because he was a good driver. But Rich, I think it's fair to say, Rich is a complainer.
Yeah.
And as much as he was a good racer, I actually liked racing against him. I liked the competition, and I actually like Rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As a character and all that. And he's very. You won't get anything out of Rich. There's no point asking him what tyre pressure he's running because he's getting told wrong. But Rich, he was at the front of every complaint. But I think by the end of the gamesmanship, he had worked out, I can't beat Ant, but I can wind him up.
Yeah.
And he used to wind, and the complaints, and I used to just say, why don't you just complain about you? He actually used to complain about my race, and he wasn't even in it. He used to drive me, but he got me. You know what I mean? He actually, whereas I've always gone, I don't even go. You know, if I went to, I would only complain if I was thrown out.
Yeah.
So if you took me out, I wouldn't complain about you. I would argue to get back in.
Yeah.
I don't want you removed.
Yeah.
And I feel different, not feel differently, but I feel it's going to be difficult for me to act the same way with the kids racing.
Yeah.
So I know, and your mum, how long was your mum involved in the NASA thing?
Too long.
Yeah, she says that now.
Yeah.
I still think she'd do it again tomorrow.
No, I think it's, well, the family arguments one it caused, and we never see her.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it happens, doesn't it? It's like meetings every night, and it's a thankless job.
Yeah. It takes its toll. You know, I'm not going to get too drawn into the politics of it, and I'm new to it. You know, I'm at the end of my second year. But yeah, the meeting after meeting after meeting. You know, people at home don't understand. I didn't understand.
Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't. You know, even when I went into the idea of doing it, truthfully, was I expecting this? No.
Yeah, yeah.
Would I do it again? No.
Yeah.
Do I get some enjoyment out of it? Yes.
Yeah.
You know, but I think your mum was a bit of a different gravy because she absolutely embraced, like, she's grass tracking through and through.
100%. Yeah.
And you know, we all are.
Yeah.
But that is your mum's forte.
Yeah.
She could organise autograss racing while making tea.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Whereas, you know, the things that break my brain are that's just, fucking mum can do that while she's, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know, she's changing a nappy, can't she? Do you know what I mean? And she was a massive asset and a massive part of the sport for so long. She left a void in 2022 when she left.
Yeah, it's. I mean, to be fair, it's been nice. Obviously, with Ada coming along as well, so we've got more family time. And obviously, what's happened this year? Wow, we have come closer together as a family. And I think, had she still be involved, we still won't see her now, which is nice.
So you've had a tough year.
Yeah.
Right. If we dig into your personal life a little bit, we won't go too deep.
Yeah.
You've had a tough year.
Yeah.
Start of the year, hunky dory.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and you're building a home and you're working together in your workshop on a night and you're both loving it.
Yeah.
It's fair to say it went a little bit tits up.
Just a little bit. Just before qualifying as well. A bit inconsiderate,
Very
really.
inconsiderate. However, here we are now. So let's go back. We're April, May, June. Difficult.
Yeah.
We could all see it.
Yeah.
You know, your friends, your family could see it. You know, I've had you at my work when you've come for a little job and I could see it.
Yeah.
And I recognised it and said to you, are you okay? You know what I mean? But here you are now.
Yeah.
So we're, 6-7 months
Something like that.
down the road, whatever it is. You look great.
Thanks.
You're smiling.
Yeah.
You're in the garage with your Crocs on.
Yeah.
You're a TikTok
Safety.
sensation.
Not quite just yet.
You know, in hindsight, you're better off today.
I think so, yeah. And I think, well, it takes something like that, doesn't it? Like, you build yourself up, you got a break until you find something better. And I think that's what's coming now. And it's nice to go back in the garage.
That then?
No, nobody. Me. It's nice to go in the garage, to be fair. And if I don't want to be in there, I don't have to be. My dad comes around a lot more now, which is a bonus because I can't lift booster engines on my own.
Yeah.
So at least he gives an hand with that. But no, it's just racing's come fun again, which is what it should be.
It should be. You can be. The fun's winning.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're winning, it's fun.
Oh, 100%.
You've made a massive step. It doesn't matter what anyone says. There is a differential between the men's and ladies.
Yeah.
Not the men's.
Yeah.
The ladies and the full license.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ladies, however, that are more than capable of winning on a full license.
Oh, without doubt. Yeah.
That includes you. Now, in your league, unfortunately for you, you've also got one of the fastest girls in the country on a full license in Emily.
Yeah.
So you two, did you both qualify this year as well? So out of what I would class as one of the fastest leagues in the UK, the CGTRO.
Yeah.
And only 2 girls in there.
Yeah.
And you both out-qualify the guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. I mean, to be fair, I was a bit disappointed with the nationals, but I don't know. But yeah, I think it's been we started Scunny Bass off like really well, and then obviously crash.
Yeah,
bad, not ideal. But it was just getting to grips this year and finding your feet. But like you say, it's different gravy.
Yeah, the margins. I think the margins. It's
for error. The margins for error are a lot.
Smaller.
Yeah, 100%. You go into a corner, someone else is there. After a lap in the ladies, you've all found your feet and you're settled.
It's that little bit. There's a little bit of cut and thrust, and let's say it's only a tiny percentage.
Yeah.
On the entry speed, as you quite rightly say, the gap isn't there.
Yeah.
So your room for manoeuvrability when you make an error is gone.
Yeah, 100%.
So you're tangled.
Yeah.
And that it's just that instead of 5 getting to the corner, 7 get to the corner, and those 2 fill the gaps.
Yeah.
And that's the only difference, isn't it?
Yeah. Literally, there's obviously the element of speed into the corners that is slightly different, but I think we're getting to grips with that. Yeah. But the cars are completely different to what we were 5-6 years ago as well. Everybody's running the same kit.
Yeah.
So you are. Don't get me wrong, obviously setup and everything's crucial, but we're all running the same gear now.
Yeah.
So we are, like you say, 7 of us are entering the corner at one time. Only one can come out.
In my last season, I noticed the difference getting older. The reaction times aren't the same.
Yeah.
But then the kit advantage, if I go back to 2011, I had a kit advantage over 70% of them.
Yeah.
2002, I had a kit advantage over 90% of them.
Yeah.
You know, the first proper big Hayabusa.
Yeah.
2011, the PowerTech sponsored. Yeah. We was just a little bit even, you know what I mean? Now, with the kit I sold at the end of 2024, which I consider to be, Dan built the motor. No disrespect to anybody that's built motors before. My Andy Hornshaw motor was special.
Yeah.
All my PowerTech motors were good, and my TTS motors before them was good. That motor that Dan built me, that was something else. It was a fucking whole different gravy. Like the thing pulled from tick over. I could leave the line at any amount of revs. It would pull any gear in I threw at it. The chassis was 340 kilos. It was one of my own. You know, I built it for me. I have my own shocks that I favour. I'm a little bit out the loop on shocks. You guys are all on extracts. Yeah. Some on Olins.
Yeah.
I'm still a Fox man.
Yeah.
I've been with Paul for so many years. I think it would be impossible to even try anything else for me. And with Alfie, he starts his adult career on Foxes because we're going to, continue that route. I think we have something.
Yeah.
But apart from a difference of opinion on the sticker on your shock or this, whether your exhaust's titanium or stainless, that's it now.
Yeah.
They are 340 kilos. They are 220 horsepower, and they're all very similar percentages. We're all on the lightweight wheels and all that. And its development at this point is stalled.
Marginal.
Yeah, it's stalled. So it's all, like you say, it's those fine. So let's go back. Let's delve into a little bit what you're doing, in the private hours. Well, you're on TikTok, so not that private. But when you're in the workshop, so you're obviously doing the cars. You're stripping them, you're building them.
Yeah.
You're reassembling, you're powder coating them, I know it all gets subcontracted, but you're on the spanners.
Yes. Yeah.
So setup wise, is that you?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it's working.
Yeah, well, I think so. And that's, to be fair, that's what I've been doing mainly with my car this year, is pissing about with the setup to try find it for Beth's.
Yeah.
So Beth can't feel anything in her ass, obviously. And that's what it's all about, trying to find the right setup and like I said, try to transfer it onto mine and Beth's.
Beth is just constantly concussed?
Or pissed.
Or both?
Don't breathalyze her. I honestly don't know. She's like in a trance. I mean, it's comical, but and painful.
I mean, she's lovely.
Yeah.
But she's fast. And the one, and when it was you two racing together, do you know what? You was measured.
Yeah.
Beth was fast.
Yeah, 100%.
And I used to, and I've recently, I don't know what's happened to me. Something's gone wrong. I started to watch a lot of Ladies 6.
Yeah.
Right? And I watched a lot of Ladies 8.
Yeah.
I've always watched the 8s anyway. And obviously my interest in 8 was always mainly because Claire Horner used to run my kit.
Yeah.
So Claire I'd always watch Claire because she was also the only one that ran my spring rate, my setup, my damping.
And she's cool.
She's fast.
Yeah.
And still fast.
Yeah.
I mean, Claire's titles are going to take some chasing down.
100%.
That's a big undertaking for someone.
Yeah.
We've got two runaway people in our sport now in Phil and Claire. That's just, it's not even, no one's ever going to
catch him.
No. And back in the day, there has been fantastic female racers, prior to Claire.
Yeah.
Claire came on the tail end of two of potentially the best lady racers. One went on a man's license, one stayed on a lady's license, but one jumped ship and did what you're doing. Not just one of the best lady racers, one of the best racers in Autograss.
Yeah. Well, 100%.
And where you are now at the end of your first year on a man's license, on a full license, you got that potential to make those steps. You're right there. You qualify for nationals in your first year.
Yeah.
There's people in our league, your league. I'm not in that league anymore. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
That never, ever, ever qualify for the nationals. Fast people.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we bring in the Sam effect.
Yeah.
He comes along. So just when there's a relax.
Yeah.
Sam jumps ship and comes and joins the CGCRO.
Yeah.
Arguably, has anybody got more mile an hour in an autograss car than Sam Matthews?
That's it. I think he disengages his brain when he gets into that car.
Yeah, he's
he is loose.
Yeah, he's loose. Yeah. I mean, I love racing against Sam. It's
Sam and Sam only.
I was going to say he's I'm more. I prefer to follow him.
Yeah.
And try and work it out at the end.
Yeah.
Than know he's behind me.
Yeah.
I mean, our national final in 24. Yeah. I mean, Sam still thinks he could have won it, but I was just going easy on him. You know what I mean? But he was, when I watched the video after, obviously I didn't see all of that.
No.
I didn't see Sam decide there's no dirt left on the track, so I'm going to drive it off the fence.
Yeah.
I didn't see that all unfolding behind me. And him and Bryn was having the race of their life.
Yeah. It was a cool race to watch, to be fair.
And they was essentially unlucky that in me, they just had a calm head in front of them.
Yeah.
So while they drove the wheels off and made the race look great,
Entertaining.
I just ticked them off.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was a nice end for my career. But Sam, his potential to be the fastest man in Class 8.
Oh, definitely.
God. But you are again. You're in an era now when we list the names we've listed. Sam, Mitch, Dan.
Yeah.
They are just so fast.
Yeah. Without doubt. And consistently fast as well. Like Mitch, for me, is probably the most consistent in the last 5-6 years on any terrain.
He can do it both. I mean, we forgot Russ.
Oh, well, yeah.
The old right? He's older than me, by the way.
Yeah.
But Russ has just won the Bass.
Yeah.
I think last time he won it 2008, maybe. He won it in 07 because he nicked it off me at the last round, I think. He definitely won it in 08. I always say to him, because I had that year off.
Yeah.
But that's irrelevant. He was already the champion. But Russ never won the Nationals.
No.
Mitch never won the Nationals.
Yeah.
Dan.
No, yeah. It's just doesn't happen
Wide
for some
open.
people. Yeah.
Do you know, if I had to say now, and it's not a case of being selective, going into the Nationals next year, which right at this point as we're speaking today, we don't have a venue.
Yeah.
That's politics.
Hopefully minor.
It's minor. It's a minor thing. We'll have a Nationals.
Qualifying for.
Yeah, you just make sure you get qualifying done, and we'll worry about that.
Yeah.
I can say now, great conversation in this last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And the two venues that's, hopefully by the time this comes out,
venue secured.
Announcements will be made.
And we've got a long journey to go.
Yeah. You could be wrong about that.
Ah, that's good.
But it's not Scunthorpe.
Well, I know that. Definitely know that one.
I tried that. But when you think about it, if I look back now, I see two guys that the only two guys. I get chastised for this. I'll probably get this wrong. Disclaimer: this is my opinion only. I see two guys that's your real threat. I see you in the national final with them lads, right? Obviously,
bullshit.
It's true, folks. I see Mitch. He's going to be there a while.
Yeah.
Cameron was going to be there a while.
Yeah.
Right. I still see the big threat. Now you've got Cameron who's a multiple champion. So Cameron's won 3 Class 8 now.
Yeah.
And he was fast last year. Sean.
He was ballistic.
My boy.
Yeah.
He's fast.
Yeah.
We got, more work to do.
Yeah.
I think if I'd have been Sean, I'd have dished him one on lap 8. And we'd have worked it out on the last lap. You know what I mean? I think Sean, without being, we did speak about it, and I think without being derogatory towards Sean, who is an absolute animal, by the way, would run you over in the pits, didn't.
Yeah.
I stood there thinking, there's one coming.
Yeah.
Because Sean does like a lunge.
Yeah.
When I was racing as Sean as my teammate in the car that I built him, he didn't think twice about firing me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I thought it was coming with Cam, but I think Sean was in a position then, if it comes, it comes. But a second place at the Class 8 Nationals on South Wales track.
Yeah, it's something to take home, innit?
Take it.
Yeah.
You get to a position in life where that's not enough.
Yeah.
But right now, Sean's in a position where it was more than enough.
Yeah, 100%.
And he'd had a busy year, making a new family and all that.
Definitely busy.
Practicing.
Telly on.
Yeah, you should have. So there's all that going on, but I still see these two guys on the outside and they get forgotten. Dan McKenzie. Yeah. Never, ever, ever write Dan McKenzie off.
No, 100%. No.
Because just 2 years ago, he just nicked it under the radar. Did he even get the notoriety he deserved for winning the Evesham Nationals?
No, that's it. And then when we went back to Evesham, obviously when Matt Barrisford won it, he were right behind there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Chris Pope.
Yeah.
You can never, ever. Now, Chris won the Nationals in 1999. And
something else happened that year.
What else happened that year?
I came along.
Oh, God. Was it? Shut up. So in 1999, when you was born, Chris Pope won the Nationals in the most strange circumstances ever. Do you know about this or not?
I might do.
Right.
It's a story of Ales.
So the Class 8 final track was Norton Radstock, I believe.
Oh.
Right. So if you go as far south as you can possibly go.
And keep going.
dip your toes in the sea, do a U-turn and come back to the middle of the country, but there's no road that goes straight to it. So it's like 20 hours away.
Yeah.
And we got there and the track was, and it's a shame actually, because the track on Saturday, people called it the bomb hole and it was a bit rough and ready. But you know what? Remember we were on Virgin Venues then. So it was, it's a grass field with some fences around it. I thought it was pretty cool. I was in the 5 with the bike engine then. Carl Mosley was in the yellow chink with the 2 Hondas in. So he was pretty quick. You'll have only seen it on photos, of course.
Yeah, obviously.
And, the guys who embraced the dirt and embraced the bumps, we just enjoyed it. And then it rained. So we got 2 heats out the way Saturday night. They cancelled heat 3 completely. We went straight into finals. The Class 8 final went, and it was one of them like slush fest melee.
Yeah.
One over the Marshalls post. Some big names in there.
Yeah.
All big names in there. And it got stopped. One got kicked out. And it went again. Stopped. One got kicked out. It went again. Another driver said, "F*** it, I've had enough." She parked it. It went again. By the final run, there was only 2 cars left in it. So there was a guy, Chris Pope, somebody we all know, and a guy called Peter Bird, who you've never heard of.
No.
And Peter Bird was in an old ZZR 1100, 5-link suspension, like straight out of 80s.
Yeah.
Right? Lovely fella. He's from the Isle of Wight. Lovely fella. You might remember his lad race a few years ago. Dave Bird was a DJ.
Yes.
And Dave was fast.
Yeah.
But Pete, I'm not being disrespectful when I say this about Pete, but I'm going to say he was probably in his 60s in 99. Certainly. Yeah. I mean, I'd say it now like, oh, he was in his 50s, old bastard, my age.
Yeah.
And he left the start line, Pete. They'd had that many reruns. It gets to 4 laps in. Pete didn't put no petrol in. So Pete grinds to a halt. Chris goes round on his own. National champion. I don't take that away from Chris.
Oh, yeah.
He does, because you know what he's like. He's quite self-critical.
Yeah.
So he takes it away from himself and goes, I never won it.
Yeah.
But he did win it because he was the only one left.
Yeah.
They didn't. When I say that again, I don't mean that derogatory, because he was the only one with the staying power. When other people went, I've had enough. Yeah. Chris just kept going. He wanted to win it.
Yeah.
And he won it, and he became a national champion that day. And unfortunately for Chris, 26 years later, he's not managed to do it, but he is still one of the fastest men in the class.
Yeah.
And given Chris the right day on the right track. So
no one will catch it.
No. And you go Dales on the right day after a bit of wet on Saturday.
Yeah.
South Wales after a bit, a West Midland track.
Yeah. With
a cushion. He'll take some beating.
Yeah. Yeah, he is ballistic. And he's good to watch, on it, like you say, on his day.
Yeah, he's ace. And more relaxed now. So he's a better racer now because he was a bit intense in his day.
Yeah.
So back to you. 2024, win the Nationals. We digressed a little bit there, didn't we?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Win the Nationals in 2024. Jump ship, full licence.
Yeah.
Prep for your sister.
Yeah.
She goes and wins your title and brings it all the way back to, I was going to say Scunthorpe, but to Leeds.
Costadale.
So plans for next year, you're on the winter rebuilds already?
Yes.
And customers' cars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So luckily we've got my teammate, obviously Beth, and the other teammate, Sam. So his might get delayed till after first qualifier, obviously. And then, we've 6 in total to do, and then potentially mine if we've got time.
Yeah. Yours is in good shape, though.
It's not. It just looks a bit sad, and I'm very anal at it not looking sad.
Yeah.
So, and obviously we had the crash at Scunny, so I'm still waiting for an exhaust for it. Luckily, we managed to beg, borrow and steal for the year.
Yeah.
But to be fair, we haven't got too much. Again, we're going to piss about and go for some different shocks for next year, I think, on my car.
Yeah.
Again, just
Are you going to let me in on that little secret? Or?
Oh, we're just going short shocks.
Right, okay.
Just to try.
Staying with the X-Trax?
I think so for now. I mean, unless we remortgage a house and go on Olins or Penske's. But I think I'll stick.
Good. You're mad.
I know. But yeah, I think, and like I say, it's just trying to find the edge. And as well, me wrapping my head around it all at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Beth's is, we're going to powder coating hopefully tomorrow. So all shiny new colours.
And where do you go for powder coat?
Moran's.
Oh, right. Okay,
York.
Paul. Yeah.
Yeah. and then can call at the plates on the way back.
Yeah.
And
Round
at
robin.
least, yeah, try to tie it all in.
In our sport, cool for its like diversity in the fact that the guys within the sport build the chassis.
Yeah.
We mentioned Cobra Coatings. He's one of our corporate partners for 2020. 2020. What year are we in? 2026.
Yeah.
So he's one. Are we in 2026?
No,
2025.
25.
He's one of our corporate partners for this year.
Yeah.
And Gareth's been with us right from his support going to the NEC and all that sort of stuff, and still with us right through to the end of the year.
Yeah.
But obviously we got Paul Moran. Obviously, there's so many people in our sport that just they see this opening and go, right, we'll have a bit. Graham's now on the powder coating job.
Yeah.
So at BB they've got like the whole
whole shebang.
Yeah, they have. That must have been a pretty cool investment because he took over from another family that was already doing it.
Yeah.
In Waldron's.
Yeah.
And we've got the whole job's covered now. Obviously, we suffered a massive loss. The sport suffered a massive loss when we lost Jeff.
Still now.
Yeah. But I don't think
that'll ever go.
No.
And I think Jeff was like one of the pinnacle people who brought the sport so far forward. Developed it.
I've made no secret of it over the years, mainly to him to wind him up, because I always used to say to him, when I was a little lad, you was my hero.
Yeah.
But he genuinely was and remains my hero.
Yeah.
If we look, we talked about with another guest, we talk about we'll come to this in a minute, but we talked about, who's the guy, who's this, who's that. And for me, it was Jeff.
Yeah.
And you know what? He was just cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad was racing against him at the time. Dad had gone to Class 9, so I'm going to go back to the early 90s. And I remember the Nationals at Yeddingham, which is, for me now, is local.
Yeah.
And actually earlier in the year, because I'm sad, right, since retirement, so I chucked my drone and stuff in the back of my motorbike and off I go for a ride. And I see the sign for Yeddingham. So I've been going to all old tracks, droning the venues. And one day, in about 10 years' time, I'll get round to editing it all. Mm. When the kids have buried me and they're paying off all my debts, because there's no inheritance.
And they're thinking, fuck me, Dad, how many drone footages have you got?
You boring bastard.
Delete.
The kids are going to edit it into something really cool.
They definitely won't.
You don't think?
Yeah.
No, they're not that sad. But Jeff's Yeddingham Nationals, and I just remember, and somebody said it's like Jeff Beresford's flying. And I shit you not, as a, what would I have been, 1995, 22-year-old kid. He was flying. And what I mean by that is, it's like his wheels didn't touch the floor. Now, Paul Jones, my shot guy, right? So ProLinks Paul, a bit of a little legend anyway. Paul was a good racer, very, very good racer. Paul beat Jeff in Heat 2. We've discussed this. Back in them days, there was a curse. If you won 3 each, you didn't win the final.
I still believe that curse.
Rubbish. I think apart from 2024, every time I've won the Nationals, I've won all my heats. Mm-hmm. And I did again in 2024 in the 600 in the Little Inn. But yeah, my first ever Nationals win, they was telling me in 2002, don't win the third heat, you'll get the curse. Yeah. And I was like, curse, I'm ready to win. But I still believe that Jeff, a man with that notoriety, talent, ability, coolest cars on the field at the time, with his, and it was I think he had a Cosy in back then. And I think Jeff let Paul win the second heat.
For the curse.
Yeah, because of the curse. Yeah. And in the final, shit a brick. He was just another level. Like, this thing was, it wasn't even on the ground. Yeah. And I think that, and then of course, 2 years later, when Jeff comes out with that, before you were born, he comes out with the first of the piggyback twins. And the thing, well, it wheelied from pillar to post. At that point in time, there was only one man in the sport who could drive that car, and that was him. Yeah. And I don't care who, he did let Paul Harvey have a go in it, and it chucked a rod out. But he, nobody could drive that car. And Claire, bless her, the car had to go through massive changes between the men's and the ladies just so that Claire could drive it. Because, and I do know at one point, and we can say it now, but he had a secret tank in it, and he used to fill it up with water
just to get it down,
to ballast it, because ballast weren't allowed. Yeah. So he used to ballast it, and then he used to pull a little cable and he just dropped the water out while he raced. Yeah. So it would have more grip at the end. Yeah. But that's innovation, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. And he was the king of that. 100%. And it's like you've already said, it's a gap that's never going to be filled. Yeah. And the hard part is, I suppose, if you're where you are or where I am in a very small degree, my go-to guy for all my parts has gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's nobody manufacturing. I know there's the wishbones and the uprights are available, but like, where's the drive shaft manufacturer, the drive box, the gearbox manufacturer, all just steering racks?
Yeah, and it was like the prices of everything have obviously rocketed, but Jeff was doing it because he genuinely loved the sport.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was necessarily the business side of things for it.
Absolutely not. He was in a great place because if he's got men stood in a CNC machine shop, they can make parts.
Were coming out.
Well, but they can make parts at cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because making something at cost is better than making nothing at all.
Yeah.
And so he was in a lucky position, and he did. And it's difficult to compete against a guy like that, like I was doing back in the day, purely simply because he dictated the cost.
Yeah.
So when I went off and made my own steering racks, I'm just like, I'm not even making a pound out of these.
Yeah.
And might as well buy them off Jeff. And he knew that. So he did command the market.
Yeah.
Like you say, the prices of the cars. I mean, Jeff wasn't a prolific builder of cars in his later years. He didn't really ever want to do turnkey cars anyway. Bit like John. Russ likes the turnkey, like I did.
Yeah.
John hates the turnkey, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Bryn because I've not really.
No, but he's turning out some pretty cool stuff, to be
Yeah,
fair.
he is very.
And I think the sport does need sort of a new constructor, somebody young and willing to do it. 'Cause, I mean, obviously, Russ and John are only in their 30s, but...
Are they? Because they're both older than me, and I'm 40.
That's what I'm saying. So you must be 26. And nobody's, unfortunately, getting any younger, either. And it's next steps in the sport.
And like Britain, I was 24, 25 when me and Paul first collaborated to build the cars together, and still building them at 50 odd.
Yeah.
But you don't have the drive. And like Bryn's the guy to probably move it to another level because he doesn't need to go to bed.
No.
He can sleep when he's 40, can't he?
That's it. 100%.
So as a sort of closing question then.
Yeah.
You've watched it all go on. You don't have to limit this to a driver or from an autograss perspective, who's the standout person? Who's the driver, the constructor, the director? Who's the standout person that's made it for you, that makes you go?
Just one person.
One person.
Oh. It probably sounds a bit melty, but I would actually say my mum. I think the way she went with the sport, obviously how it ended weren't great, but I think she was pinnacle of the sport and the contributions to
driving force. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then if you go racer, I think it would have to be Claire Horner.
Yeah.
Because she's cool.
She's up there, isn't she?
Yeah. Yeah. And at least I can say...
With her 29 titles or whatever she's on.
And I've beat her a couple of times, so that at least that's in my bag.
Yeah, yeah.
Only
absolutely.
a couple, though.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, obviously, you've always got to have someone to chase.
100%.
If there's no one to chase, then, then you're her.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
And we'll get the Christmas period out of the way.
Yeah.
We'll have a bit of fun. For you guys at home, if there's any guests you'd like to see on this show, put it down in the comments. Any questions you want to ask later, I'm fairly sure that we'll be seeing this young lady again in the future for another chat.
Thank you very much.
And don't forget to follow Josie on TikTok because her crocs are a social media sensation. Thanks, Josie.
Thank you.